Good day, folks. Welcome to Answers Life. Well, today is January 2nd of 2026. Today marks exactly 1 year that I have been here at my residence with everything moved in. Because see, at this time last year, I brought my last U-Haul load of stuff here at my current residence. So I have officially, both on paper and physically, been here at this residence for a year. For a full year out here in the country. Now, before I lived out here, I lived in a small town, and I was at that residence for a little over a couple of years. So after living out here in the country for a full year, not small town, but the country for a full year, I just want to share with you guys just how I feel about living out here. I mean, I'm pretty sure many of you guys already know. And I just want to rehash on the positive aspects of living out here and some of the negative aspects of living out here in the country. So here we go. Now, for starters, I enjoy living out here. It's quiet, it's peaceful. I don't, on days I'm not having to work, such as today, I don't have to deal with a whole lot of traffic. I don't have to deal with a whole lot of people, which I love. Now, the people out here are, they're very nice, they're very neighborly, but at the same time, we all keep to ourselves. So I don't have anybody out here that's super nosy. Because sometimes you can move into a community where, yeah, they're nice, but they're also very nosy. Out here, they're nice, they're neighborly, and they're not nosy. They stay to themselves, like I said to myself. And out here, if anybody goes on a trip and they're gone for an extended period of time, we tend to look out after each other's property. We tend to glance around, make sure that there's nobody that doesn't belong in the area is in the area. And if there's anything funny going on, none of us are afraid to pick up the phone and call the authorities. Some people out here, they're not afraid to use that piece. Just saying. So I like it out here. And another positive aspect about being out here is, well, it's the obvious. I don't have my next door neighbors on top of me. Like if I were, if you were to live, let's say, in town, in certain parts of the country, you got houses that are so close together that you can look out your window and you can see the inside of your neighbor's house if your neighbor were to leave their window open, let's say. Or two, if you were to go outside your house in the city or even in some of the small towns, especially up in the Midwest, if I were to fully expand both my arms like this, one hand would be touching my house. The other hand would be touching my neighbor's house. See, out here, none of that's going on. I mean, most people out here have 2 or more acres. So plenty of land around these properties for privacy. And also, for those that got a green thumb and they want to grow a bunch of stuff, they can grow whatever the hell they want to grow. So that's another positive aspect of being out in the country. And for me, being out in the country is actually therapeutical. I mean, it's therapeutic. I'm out here making up words. It's therapeutic. Like, when I come home from work, if there's any amount of daylight left over, I might just sit outside for maybe 5 minutes and just stare around. Just stare at the grass, stare at the trees and the sky. Just listen to the birds sing and all that good stuff. Look at the greenery out here. I mean, it's winter time, but here in Alabama, where I'm at, there's still a little bit of greenery. It's not like it is up north where everything is gray and brown and or gray and white because it's snow on the ground. So to me, being out here in the country is therapeutic. And on days I'm off of work, I enjoy coming out here and doing these videos. I enjoy coming out here and just looking around, you know, taking in a bunch of this fresh air at the same time. And the air is very fresh out here. Because see, where I live, I mean, none of my neighbors have any type of farm animals or any of that going on. So I don't even have to smell any animal manure. It's just pure fresh air out here. Super quiet. And even come the holidays like 4th of July, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. When I lived in the city, or in some cases, when I lived in the city, people, people might pop off their weapon. Out here, people, they pop off their weapons out here too, but they do it in a manner that's more, that's safer, I'll just say. But for the most part, come your holidays, certain holidays to where there might be a little bit of excitement going on, like during New Year's and also during the 4th of July. Out here, it is super quiet. Nothing at all is going on. Nothing. I mean, as quiet as it is right now, that's how quiet it is out here all the time. And that's how we like it. And another positive aspect about living out in the country, and this depends on what state that you live in, but here in Alabama, where I'm at, if I wanted to put up a tiny home on this lot, I could. I'm not going to have a bunch of government officials breathing down my neck telling me, no, I can't do it. Or I got to take it, I can't keep it on the lot because of whatever. Or I got to put it on a permanent foundation. I ain't got to do none of that shit out here. If I want to put a tiny home out here, I can do so. I mean, out here, basically out here where I'm at, when it comes to any kind of code, any type of building codes out here, they're super laxed. It's super laxed out here. You don't, like I said, you don't got a bunch of government officials that are going to be coming out here and doing a bunch of inspections and giving you a bunch of fines and breathing down your neck and telling you what you can and can't do on your own property. And that's one thing I like about living here in rural Alabama. I mean, even up in rural Indiana, the amount of freedom that you have in rural Alabama, at least in the part of rural Alabama where I'm at, in many parts of rural Indiana, you don't got these freedoms. Because there's a lot of places up in rural Indiana that if I wanted to, let's say, put up a tiny home, I would have to get approval from the county. And then the county would charge me X amount of money for permits. As for here where I'm at, I ain't gotta be doing all that permit stuff. I just buy that tiny home and I throw that shit up there. Or two, I can build a tiny home on this lot. I can do whatever for the most part. So I also enjoy the freedom of living out here in rural Alabama. And another thing I enjoy about rural Alabama is, well, property taxes. Now, although I think property taxes are a scam and they ought to be done away with, I am, however, grateful for the fact that property taxes out here are relatively low, much lower than they are anywhere else you go. Like even like the property tax rates here in Alabama are lower than even Mississippi. The property tax rates in Mississippi are at least double the rates compared to Alabama. Same thing with Georgia. The property tax rates in Georgia are, I want to say, over double compared to what's here in Alabama. I mean, so for me, I my house is over 1,600 square feet, 2 acres of land. My property taxes this past property tax season was only $620. Now, my other house up in Indiana, the annual property taxes on that house, I mean, let's say I were to live in that house up in Indiana for a time and I decided to apply for the homestead that Indiana has. Even after the homestead, the property taxes on that house would be around $550, $600 a year. In my house up in Indiana, it's a lot smaller because that house is only a little over 700 square feet, and the lot size is only 6,500 square feet. Just to compare a little bit, just to kind of give you a, but yeah, anyways, the property taxes here in Alabama are much lower than Indiana and many other states. Is what I'm trying to say. So that's another thing I like about living in rural Alabama. Maybe I'll name the video things I like about living in rural Alabama. I think that'd be a better name for that video, because not every rural American experience is going to be the same. Now, let's see, what else can I think of here? And another thing I like about living in rural Alabama is, like in a part of Alabama where I'm at least, I like the seasons. I mean, like right now, it is the 2nd of January. In most parts of the country, it is super cold. In most parts of the country, if I were in those states, I would be sitting here with hat, gloves, a heavy coat, and I probably wouldn't be sitting here doing this video, at least not outside. I'll be inside because it'd probably be too cold for my camera and too windy as well. As for like today, I want to say the temperatures right now are in the, I think right now we got about 60 degrees. I think it's in the low 60s today, which I'm not complaining. Yeah, I think it's like the low 60s right now where I'm at. Now, some of the things I don't like about living in rural Alabama is, well, for one, I wish we had a slightly larger economy. But then again, one of the reasons why the cost of living out here is so low is because, well, the economy down here is not the largest. It's functionable, but it's not the greatest. So that's one thing about rural Alabama which I don't like. I wish we had a slightly better economy. Another thing is, when it comes to certain venues where I'm at in rural Alabama, we don't really have a lot of venues. I mean, like in town, which from where I live, I'm like about 10 minutes from town. We used to have a grocery store, but they recently went out of business. So now if I want to do any grocery shopping, I'm going to have to drive a half hour. Well, no, I'm going to have to drive 25 minutes to the closest town in order to do my grocery shopping. I mean, if I need something like real quick and fast, I can always just go down the street to Dollar General or something. But if I need to buy actual groceries, or if I need to have any services done to any of my vehicles, or if I need anything, any of that kind of stuff, it's going to be at least a 25-minute drive to the closest town or a smaller city for me to get any of that done. And if I need to get tags for my license plates, or I need to do anything that's legal, again, it's going to be a 25-minute drive into that city in order for me to take care of all that. So that's one thing I don't like so much about living in rural Alabama. Another thing I don't like about living in rural Alabama is the internet. I don't have fiber internet, unfortunately. Now, there are certain rural communities throughout the United States to where they do have fiber. Like if I were to go to, let's say, Arkansas, many parts of rural Arkansas now, they have fiber. Where I'm at, no fiber. In fact, the kind of internet that I have is satellite. See, I have one of those real big satellite dishes for my internet. So the internet options out here are super outdated, and for what you get, it's also super expensive. Another thing about rural Alabama which I don't like is when it comes to some of the energy sources. Like here's what I mean. See, my house has propane. You see, I heat my house with propane. Now, I hate propane. I dislike propane because it's expensive. Now, if I live somewhere in town, rather than using propane, I would have access to natural gas, which natural gas is a lot cheaper than propane. So, given that I have to use propane to heat up my house, not only is it more expensive than natural gas or even electric, but on top of that, I also have to constantly keep an eye on my tank. Because, the thing about having propane is, if I get real busy and I forget to keep an eye on my tank and I run out of propane, guess what? I might come home from work and it might be, 55 degrees, it might be 45 degrees at night, and guess what? I have no heat. Now, last year when I first moved here, there were 2 times that I accidentally ran myself out of propane and I had no heat. And here in Alabama, if you run yourself out of propane and you call your propane provider to come out and fill you up, they're going to charge you for the amount of propane that they fill you up with, and they're going to charge you an additional fee because legally they have to test your lines to make sure there's no leaking. So as where if I had natural gas, I don't have to worry about checking no tank. All I do is my bill comes in the mail, I pay that junk every month, and I'm good. As where with propane, not only do I pay more, but I also have to constantly check my tank to make sure I don't run out of propane. And also with propane, any time that I buy an appliance, there's like a little, I don't know what you call it, but there's like a extra part that you have to put on your appliances. So, because propane doesn't burn the same way natural gas burns. Propane is a lot more humid. See, propane gives off a lot more humidity compared to natural gas. And it doesn't burn as clean as natural gas. So whenever I buy a gas appliance, there's like this little thing that I have to put on it. So when I connect it into my propane source, it will burn cleaner, and plus it's not gonna give off all the extra humidity. Like, it's hard for me to explain, but propane is a huge pain in the ass, and it's expensive, and it's pricey as hell. So that's another thing about rural Alabama that I don't like. And let's see what else here. And honestly, that's about it. I mean, to be quite frank with you people, there's more things about rural Alabama that I do like than don't like. And I'm not gonna lie to you people, there were several times that I considered leaving rural Alabama and returning back up to Indiana. Not because rural Alabama is such a bad place to live, but because, like I said, the economy down here is smaller. The jobs down here pay less. However, I came to enjoy, I enjoy being down here. I just do. Even though I don't know anybody down here, I still enjoy being down here. I just do. And I'm willing to stay down here and do what I gotta do within reason to A, increase my income, and B, just make a living down here. Now, there are a lot of people that are down here and they're doing pretty good financially, despite some of the stereotypes of people in rural Alabama, despite what statistics might say about people in rural Alabama. There's more people down here than what most of you may realize that are doing good. They're doing very good. Their houses paid off, their vehicles are paid off, they're not in debt, and come the holidays, some of them are even leaving and they're traveling to other places throughout the United States and other countries because they got the money to. And there's a lot of people down here that work for themselves too. So there's definitely a way to make it happen down here. It's not going to be easy all the time. It's not going to be easy always. But there are ways to make it down here. It's just that down here, like I said, it's a smaller economy. There's not as many opportunities down here compared to, let's say, most parts of Indiana. But it's what it is, though. I'm not ready to give up. I'm not ready to throw in the towel, so to speak. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right, folks, that's all I got for this one. Stay blessed.